If you've ever tried staying calm, taking a breath, or even walking away, and you still find yourself reacting to your toddler, it's probably not because you're doing anything wrong. It's because you're trying to fix the reaction without addressing what's causing it. Most moms think that they're reacting to their child, the whining, the mess, the not listening. But if you've ever had a moment where the reaction felt bigger than what was actually happening, that is a sign that something deeper is getting triggered. Hi, my name is Linda Alexander, and as someone who struggled not to yell, I now help other moms break the cycle for good so they can show up as the mom they actually want to be. And in my last video, we talked about how to stop the reaction right in the moment so you don't even get to the point of yelling. And today I want to take this a step further. I'm going to show you how to identify your own triggers so that those moments don't feel as intense and you can start responding in a way you actually want to respond. But to do this, first we need to talk about what a trigger is. Because this is the part that often gets misunderstood. Because on a surface level, it looks like when we talk about a trigger, it's what's happening. It's what our toddler or child is doing. It's the constant whining. It's the not listening or it's the meltdown. But that is not what the trigger is. A trigger is when something in the present is activating something in the past. And what happens in that moment is that those reactions come automatic based on what our nervous system and our body remembers. And so the reaction comes automatically before our logical brain can even step in and respond with all the things that we actually know about how we want to show up and how we want to respond to this situation, because it's literally an automatic. It's like the nervous system and body are way faster because it's an immediate, like, oh, I remember this. And what happens is often we associate it to something where we're overwhelmed or not safe. And that is why it feels so big. So it's not about the moment, it is what we associate with it, and it is the meaning we give that moment. And that is also why at times it feels so frustrating because you know how you want to respond, but in the moment, you just can't make it happen. And honestly, this is the kind of awareness we start building in my free 3-day experience. It's called Stop Yelling. It's an emotional reset for moms. So, if you find yourself reacting way more than you want and you don't really understand what's going on, then this is a great place for you to start and invite you to join me. The link is below in the description. So, once you understand that it's not about the moment itself, the next question is, how do I understand what my trigger actually is? And for that, we need to stop looking at the behavior of our kids and instead look at ourselves. And this might be a little bit confronting. This might be a little bit uncomfortable because honestly, we don't want to admit that we end up yelling and getting this triggered, but that's where we at. So, no shame, no guilt, no nothing. We just need to be honest about it and look at the last couple times we yelled. And I want you to start looking for patterns. Because what you notice when you look at the last couple times you yelled, you're probably going to notice that it happens for the same reasons. Let me explain this to you. So maybe it's like you were overstimulated the other night and there was so much noise, so much going on, so many questions, and you ended up yelling because you just couldn't take it anymore. That is one indication. Okay, maybe you find another point where the same thing happened, you were overstimulated, and again. Or maybe you notice, oh, you know what? The last times when I yelled, it was when I felt rushed, and at the same time, my toddler slowed me down. For me, that would happen when we had to rush out the door. It's been a hectic morning. We're kind of running late. I need to get to the daycare so I can go to work. And so it was time to put on shoes. And that's the point where my toddler would be like, okay, now I want to put on my own shoes. And we all know how frustrating that can be, right? Because it takes so much longer. And if we don't have the time to slow down, then this can easily become too much. And for me, that's what happened. When I felt rushed and I didn't have time, but I was slowed down at the same time, that's when it happened for me. Now, here's the thing, the truth is probably somewhere in the past, we made the correlation that slowing down is not okay. When we rush, we need to be as fast as possible, no stopping, and it's not safe to stop. So, when we are confronted with that situation, that experience gets remembered, and that is what we react to. And now I want to say one thing clear. This is not about over analyzing the past. This is not about putting guilt on our parents or anyone else, because that is not what it's about. It is about recognizing the pattern that exists and then changing it from there. Because what happens if you notice this pattern for yourself is that that awareness alone can make your reaction softer. It can make it less. Because now we can recognize that pattern and be like, you know what? That is the past, that is the present. And we can start separating that two instead of just going with it. And then it feels so automatic and overwhelming and like we cannot do anything at all. By the way, this is exactly the kind of work I do with my clients because understanding your triggers is one thing. Letting go of all the emotions that are connected to them, letting go of all the experiences in the past that is still impacting the way you show up today, that is where motherhood gets lighter because then you can actually show up from the present moment, literally without all the baggage, and can say, like, okay, I can support you now because I don't have to mother myself in that moment. And the goal is not to never get triggered again because honestly, that is not the case. We are humans, we have emotions, we have interactions with other people, so we will get triggered. That is clear. But the goal is here is getting familiar with your triggers, knowing them so that you can interrupt the reaction, and it actually becomes so much easier to do that because now when you're familiar with your triggers, when they don't have the same impact on you anymore, then all these tools that we are learning to regulate ourselves are working so much better. For example, the reset tool we talked about in the last video, they start to work and it feels easier. And if you haven't joined the 3-day reset yet, then this is a great place to start applying this. I will see you in the next video.